The strange signals came in the middle of the night. Heather Miller was alone in the lab, staring at her computer screen as the pattern repeated. 3 short bursts, 2 long ones, then 5 rapid pulses. It wasn't random noise. It wasn't a pulsar or any natural space object she knew of. "This can't be right," she whispered, pushing her glasses up her nose. Heather had worked at NASA for 12 years. She had seen all kinds of space phenomena, but nothing like this. The signal was coming from somewhere near Jupiter's orbit, and it was getting stronger. She picked up her phone and called her boss. "Paul, you need to see this. Now." Within hours, the small NASA observation center was packed with scientists and government officials. The signals continued, following the same pattern but increasing in strength. Nobody spoke the obvious truth until General Henry Boyd, a square-jawed man with close-cropped gray hair, finally said it. "We're dealing with intelligent life, aren't we?" Heather nodded slowly. "The pattern is too regular, too precise, and it's changing, adapting. Whatever's sending this signal, it's not natural." 3 days later, Major Jack Turner arrived at the facility. As one of the Air Force's top pilots and a specialist in extraterrestrial theories, he had been chosen to help form a response team. Jack hadn't believed he would see first contact in his lifetime. Now, he wasn't sure if he wanted to. "What do you think they want?" Jack asked Heather as they studied the latest data. "I don't know," she replied, rubbing her tired eyes. "But they're coming closer. Fast." The signals had been followed by the detection of massive objects moving through space, heading directly toward Earth. Whatever they were big, bigger than anything humans had ever built. President Laura Russell addressed the nation that evening. Her face was calm, but her eyes betrayed her worry. "My fellow Americans, I come to you today with news that will change our understanding of our place in the universe. We are not alone." The world reacted with a mixture of fear, excitement, and disbelief. Religious leaders called for prayer. Scientists demanded more data. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. At NASA, Heather and Jack worked with a growing team to analyze every piece of information they could gather. The objects were definitely ships, huge ones, with designs unlike anything in human engineering. They moved with purpose, changing course in ways that defied normal physics. "How many are there?" Jack asked one morning, after his 3rd cup of coffee. "We've counted 24 large vessels and what looks like hundreds of smaller craft," Heather said. "Based on their speed and trajectory, they'll reach Earth orbit in 2 weeks. Attempts to communicate had failed. Radio messages in mathematical sequences, visual signals beamed into space, even an updated version of the Voyager Golden Record. All met with silence. The visitors weren't interested in talking. "They're slowing down," Heather announced one day. The room fell silent. "They've entered the solar system and are adjusting their approach." On screens around the world, blurry images captured by space telescopes showed the alien fleet. The ships were sleek, with long, spine-like structures and glowing cores. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of fish. Frank Daniels watched the news from his small farm in Montana. The retired physics teacher had always believed in alien life, but now that belief had become reality. He wasn't sure what to think. "They didn't come all this way just to say hello," he told his dog, Max. And he was right. As the fleet passed Mars, they finally responded to humanity's messages. The signal came through every electronic device on Earth simultaneously. The aliens had hacked into Earth's entire communications network with ease. The message was simple: "We are the Krozik. Your world is now part of our domain. Resistance is futile and unnecessary. Prepare for incorporation." Humanity had just 2 days to prepare before the first ships appeared in Earth's skies. The massive alien ships hovered over major cities across the world. They blocked the sun, casting enormous shadows that turned day into night. People stood in streets, on rooftops, and in fields, looking up with a mixture of fear and wonder. These vessels were unlike anything humans had ever built. Each one was the size of a small city, with strange glowing patterns that pulsed along their smooth surfaces. Jack Turner watched from the roof of the NASA facility as one of the ships positioned itself above Washington, D.C. The ship was at least 20 miles across and shaped like a flat disc with spikes coming out from the edges. "It's like seeing a whale when you've only ever known goldfish," he said to Heather, who stood beside him with a pair of binoculars. "They could have wiped us out already," she replied. "They must want something else." The answer came soon. Every screen on Earth lit up with the same image, a tall, thin creature with grayish-blue skin. It had 4 arms, each ending in 7-fingered hands. Its head was large with 3 black eyes spaced evenly around it. When it spoke, its thin mouth barely moved, but its words came through clearly in every human language simultaneously. "People of Earth, I am Lead Commander Vexnar of the Krasic Empire. We control 300 star systems and have incorporated 62 species into our domain. Your planet has resources we desire. Your people will serve the Empire." President Russell demanded a meeting with the aliens. After several hours, a small ship descended from the main vessel above the White House. 6 Krasic emerged, each standing nearly 8 feet tall. They moved with strange, awkward steps, as if walking required great effort. Cameras broadcast the meeting worldwide. The aliens refused to negotiate. Earth would submit or face destruction. They spoke of humans as if they were talking about pets or livestock. "Your species is primitive but adaptable," Vexnar said. "You will make adequate servants once properly trained." At the NASA facility, Heather noticed something odd about the alien ships. "Look at their positioning," she said to Jack, pointing at the tracking data. "They're all staying in high orbit, and the small ships they're sending down are taking strange flight paths." "What do you mean?" Jack asked, leaning closer to her screen. "They're using more power than necessary. It's like they're fighting against Earth's gravity much harder than they should be." Back in the White House, the meeting ended abruptly. The Krasic announced they would begin establishing control centers on Earth the next day. They would start with less populated areas and expand outward. That night, small scout ships from the Krasic fleet descended toward Earth. One landed in a field just 3 miles from Frank Daniels' farm in Montana. Frank was feeding his chickens when he saw the blue light in the sky. Instead of running away, the old physics teacher grabbed his binoculars and hiking pack. "Stay, Max," he told his dog. "I'll be back." Frank hiked through the woods until he reached a ridge overlooking the alien landing site. The ship was about the size of a school bus, with a smooth metallic surface that glowed faintly. A door opened in its side, and 2 Krasic emerged. What Frank saw surprised him. The aliens were clearly struggling. They wore what looked like mechanical support suits with joints that whirred and buzzed. Even with this help, they moved slowly, as if each step took tremendous effort. One alien fell to its knees and took several moments to stand again. Frank watched as they set up equipment, noting how they seemed to tire quickly. They moved materials that looked lightweight with visible strain. After an hour, more ships landed, bringing more Krasic and larger equipment. Meanwhile, in Washington, military leaders met in an underground bunker. General Boyd showed satellite images of Krasic landings worldwide. "They're setting up bases in remote areas. Deserts, mountains, plains. But look at this footage," he said, playing a video from Australia. It showed Krasic soldiers struggling to walk, some using mechanical aids. "Something's wrong with them. They can barely function on our planet." Jack Turner looked at the footage closely. "It's not our atmosphere. They're breathing fine through those masks. It's something else." Heather, who had joined the meeting by video, suddenly understood. "It's our gravity," she said. "Their homeworld must have much less gravity than Earth. They physically can't handle the weight of themselves here." For the first time since the aliens arrived, a flicker of hope appeared in the room. Frank Daniels spent the entire night watching the aliens from his hiding spot. By morning, the Krasic had set up a small base with dome-shaped buildings and strange equipment. But what interested Frank most was how the aliens moved, or rather, how they struggled to move. Every step seemed to pain them. Their tall, thin bodies bent under a weight that wasn't visible but clearly affected them. Several aliens had collapsed entirely, and others were moving them into one of the domes on what looked like floating stretchers. "It's the gravity," Frank whispered to himself. After teaching physics for 30 years, he recognized the signs. These creatures had evolved somewhere with much less gravitational pull than Earth. Frank carefully backed away and began his journey home. He needed to tell someone, but his farm had no phone service and the nearest town was 15 miles away. As he hiked through the woods, he heard the sound of helicopters overhead. At the NASA facility, Heather Miller and Jack Turner were analyzing data from around the world. Reports were coming in from every continent. The Krozik landing parties were all experiencing the same difficulties. "Their bones must be like bird bones, hollow and light," Heather said. "Perfect for a low-gravity world, terrible for Earth." "How much weaker is their gravity compared to ours?" Jack asked. "Based on their physiology and movement patterns, I'd estimate their home world has about 1/3 of Earth's gravitational pull," Heather replied. "Imagine suddenly weighing 3 times more than you do now. Your heart would struggle, your bones might crack, your muscles would fail." The president called an emergency meeting with her military advisors. General Boyd showed footage from surveillance drones. "The aliens have established 12 major landing zones," he said, "but their ground forces are largely immobile. They're using mechanical suits to help them move, but even those are failing. Many of the Krozik are literally being crushed by our gravity." "So they didn't do their homework before invading," the president said. "They'd probably analyzed our atmosphere and temperatures, but underestimated the effect gravity would have on their bodies," Boyd explained. "It's like a human trying to function at the bottom of the ocean." While the military prepared to counterattack the alien bases, Frank Daniels finally reached the small town of Pine Creek. People were hiding in their homes, but he found Sheriff Alice Green and 3 deputies at the police station. "The aliens are dying," Frank said, out of breath from his long walk. "Earth's gravity is too much for them." "How do you know this?" Sheriff Green asked. "I watched them all night. I taught physics for 30 years. I know what gravitational stress looks like. We need to tell the military." Sheriff Green made a call to the nearest army base. Within an hour, a helicopter landed in the town's small park, and Frank was flown to meet with military scientists. Meanwhile, the Krozik were learning the same painful lesson across the globe. Inside the main ship orbiting above Washington, Lead Commander Vexnar received disturbing reports from all landing parties. "Impossible," Vexnar said, his thin body supported by a special chair designed for higher gravity environments. "How could our intelligence miss something so basic?" "The ground forces are failing, Commander," his second-in-command reported. "Many soldiers are dying from internal injuries. Their bones are breaking under their own weight." "What about the mechanical support suits?" "They help, but were not designed for this level of gravitational stress. They're breaking down quickly." Vexnar pounded one of his 4 hands against his chair. The Krozik Empire had conquered dozens of worlds, but none had gravity like Earth's. Their bodies, evolved for the gentle pull of their home world, simply couldn't function here. "Launch the orbital bombardment," Vexnar ordered. "If we cannot take their world on the ground, we will destroy their civilization from space and collect the resources afterward." As Krozik ships positioned themselves for attack, Earth's militaries prepared for the fight of their lives. But even as fear spread, a surprising advantage had emerged. The invaders could barely stand on the very planet they came to conquer. The first attack came at dawn. Bright beams of energy shot down from the Krozik ships, hitting military bases in several countries. Buildings exploded. Aircraft on runways burst into flames. But the aliens had made another mistake. Many of Earth's military forces had already moved underground or to hidden locations. Dr. Alan Rodriguez, a military scientist, studied the video of the dying Krozik that Frank Daniels had recorded. Alan was a short man with a thick beard and quick hands that moved constantly as he talked. Their bodies are basically collapsing, he explained to a room full of military officers. Their bones are breaking, their muscles are tearing, and their hearts can't pump properly against our gravity. How much time do they have on the surface? General Boyd asked. Without their support suits, maybe an hour at most. With the suits, they might last a day or two, but they'll be weak and in constant pain. Jack Turner pointed to satellite images of the alien landing zones. They're already pulling back. Look, they're loading equipment back onto their ships. Heather Miller, who was attending via video call, spoke up. But they're still bombing us from orbit. They don't need to walk on our planet to destroy it. President Russell made a difficult decision. Earth would attack the Krozik bases while they were retreating. It felt wrong to hit an enemy when they were down, but humanity had to use every advantage. Navy SEAL Kate Williams led a team of Special Forces soldiers toward the Montana base that Frank had discovered. They moved silently through the forest as dawn broke. What they found shocked them. The Krozik were in chaos. Many lay on the ground, unable to move. Others struggled to carry equipment into their ships. Their mechanical suits sparked and malfunctioned. The aliens' breathing masks made wheezing sounds as their three-part lungs struggled against the crushing pressure. They're already defeated, Kate whispered to her team. Our planet is doing the fighting for us. Kate's team captured 3 Krozik soldiers who were too weak to resist. They also seized alien technology and weapons before the rest of the landing party managed to escape back to their orbiting ships. All across Earth, similar scenes played out. The ground invasion had completely failed, but the Krozik still had their massive fleet in orbit, and they were angry. Lead Commander Vexnar ordered more bombing runs. His ships destroyed bridges, power plants, and communications towers. Thousands of humans died in the attacks, but Earth's militaries began to fight back, launching missiles at the alien ships. Most missiles were shot down by the Krozik's advanced defenses, but some got through, causing damage to the smaller alien vessels. Inside the White House's underground bunker, Alan Rodriguez made an important discovery while examining the captured alien technology. Their ships are designed for their physiology, he explained to President Russell. That means minimal gravity compensation. Even inside their vessels, they're experiencing more gravitational stress than they're built for. How does that help us? The President asked. It means their ships might have the same weakness as their bodies. If we can force them to maneuver quickly in Earth's gravity well, their ships might start breaking apart. Heather Miller took this idea further. She worked with NASA engineers to create a plan. Earth would use its own gravity as a weapon against the alien fleet. We need to get a message to the Air Force, and what's left of our Space Forces, she said excitedly. If we can draw the Krozik ships into certain orbits and force them to make rapid course corrections, Earth's gravity will put enormous stress on their hulls. As the alien bombardment continued, Captain Lisa Hart of the experimental spacecraft U.S. Defender received new orders. Her ship had been hidden in a secret facility under the Rocky Mountains, waiting for this moment. The U.S. Defender was humanity's most advanced vessel, not as large or powerful as the alien ships, but built to withstand extreme gravitational forces. Prepare for immediate launch, Lisa told her crew. We're going to teach these aliens about gravity. The U.S. Defender rose from its underground hangar, engines glowing blue against the night sky. It was smaller than the alien ships, about the size of a football field, with a sleek design that reminded Lisa Hart of a shark. All systems go, her pilot, Sam Nelson, reported. Ready to exit atmosphere. Take us up, Lisa ordered. Nice and easy until we clear the air, then full burn. The ship climbed through the clouds and into the starry blackness of space. Already, Lisa could see the massive Krozik vessels in orbit, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. 24 capital ships and hundreds of smaller ones, all positioned to continue their bombardment of Earth. Back at NASA, Heather Miller and Jack Turner watched the Defender's progress on their screens. They had helped design the battle plan that the ship would use. "Remember," Heather said over the radio, "the key is to make tight turns around Earth's gravity well. The Krozik ships will either have to follow you and risk structural damage, or let you escape and give up their tactical advantage." "Copy that," Lisa replied. "We're going fishing." The Defender approached the nearest alien ship, weapons ready but not firing. As expected, the Krozik vessel turned to track them. 3 smaller alien ships broke off to pursue. "Here we go," Lisa said. "Hold on tight, everyone." Sam pushed the Defender into a steep dive toward Earth. The G-forces pushed the crew into their seats, but they were trained for this. Their bodies, evolved on Earth, could handle extreme gravity much better than the Krozik. The alien ships followed. Lisa watched on her screens as they entered Earth's gravity well. The alien ships began to show signs of stress. Small pieces breaking off, energy fluctuations in their engines. "It's working," Sam shouted. "They can't handle the G-forces." Lisa smiled. "Let's turn up the heat." The Defender pulled a tight turn that would have killed an unprepared human pilot. The crew grunted against the pressure, but held consciousness. The pursuing alien ships attempted the same maneuver. One of the smaller Krozik vessels broke apart immediately, its hull splitting like an eggshell. The crew inside, already weakened by Earth's gravity effects on their bodies, had no chance to escape. Another alien ship's engines failed during the turn. It tumbled toward Earth, burning up in the atmosphere like a meteor. On the ground, people watched the lights in the sky and cheered as they realized humans were fighting back. In Montana, Frank Daniels stood outside his farmhouse. Binoculars pointed upward. "Give him hell," he whispered. In Washington, D.C., President Russell watched the battle from the Pentagon's command center. General Boyd provided updates as they came in. "The Defender's strategy is working," he said. 4 enemy ships destroyed, 6 more showing significant damage. Our other space forces are joining the attack using the same tactics." "And the aliens?" the President asked. "They're trying to adjust, but their ships weren't built for these kinds of maneuvers. Plus, their pilots are suffering from the same gravitational stress as their ground forces did." Dr. Alan Rodriguez pointed to a display showing the interior of a captured Krozik shuttle. "Look at their design. No significant gravity compensation. They built ships for their natural environment, not thinking they'd need to operate in high-gravity combat situations." The Krozik fleet began to pull back, moving to higher orbits where Earth's gravitational effect was less severe. The bombardment of the planet slowed, then stopped altogether. Inside the Krozik command ship, Lead Commander Vexnar struggled to understand what was happening. His body ached from the increased gravity, even inside the ship. His officers were in worse shape, some unable to stand at all. "How can this be?" he demanded. "They are primitive. Their technology is centuries behind ours." "It's not their technology," his science officer explained weakly. "It's their world. It's their bodies. They evolved in this crushing gravity. We did not." Vexinar's 3 eyes narrowed. "Prepare the quantum cannon. If we cannot have this world, then no one will." The quantum cannon was the pride of the Krozik fleet, a weapon so powerful it could crack a planet's crust. Vexnar had never needed to use it before. Most worlds surrendered when they saw the might of the Krozik Empire. But these humans were different. They had found a weakness no one had exploited before. "Move the command ship closer to the planet," Vexnar ordered. "We need to be in optimal firing position." His officers looked at him with all 3 of their eyes wide. "Commander, moving closer will increase the gravitational stress on our vessel." "I am aware," Vexnar snapped. "Do it anyway." On the U.S. Defender, Lisa Hart received an urgent message from Earth. Heather Miller's voice came through with static. "Captain, the main Krozik ship is changing position. They're powering up something big, much bigger than the weapons they've used so far." Lisa looked at her tactical display. The massive alien command ship was indeed moving closer to Earth, despite the danger that presented to its structure. "They must be desperate," she said. "What are they planning?" Jack Turner broke into the conversation. "Our scientists analyzed the energy readings. They're preparing a weapon that could cause catastrophic damage to the planet itself." Lisa made a quick decision. "We need to hit them now, before they can fire. All Earth forces, concentrate on the command ship." The remaining human spacecraft, along with ground-based missiles, targeted the Krozik flagship. But its defenses were strong, absorbing or deflecting most attacks. "It's not enough," Sam said, his hands tight on the defender's controls. Lisa thought for a moment. "If we can't destroy it from the outside, maybe we can from the inside." She turned to her communications officer. "Get me Major Turner." Jack was surprised to receive the call. "What's your plan, Captain?" "Your team captured Krozik technology, right? Do you have any of their communication devices?" "Yes, several." "Can you use them to send a message that looks like it's coming from their own fleet?" Jack smiled as he understood her plan. "I think so." "What should the message say?" "Tell them there's a critical failure in their gravity compensation systems. Order all crews to emergency escape pods." Within minutes, Jack and Alan Rodriguez had rigged the alien devices to broadcast an emergency message in the Krozik language. It went out to the entire fleet, but was targeted specifically at the command ship. Inside that ship, already struggling with Earth's gravity, panic broke out. Warning signals blared. Crew members abandoned their posts, rushing toward escape vessels. Vexnar shouted for order, but his voice was lost in the chaos. Many Krozik, already weakened by gravity sickness, believed the false alarm completely. The ship's functions began to fail as key positions were abandoned. "The quantum cannon is losing power," an officer reported. "We can't fire without the full crew." Vexnar realized he had lost control of his ship. Worse, the human vessels were moving in for another attack, using Earth's gravity to accelerate to incredible speeds. The U.S. Defender led the charge, diving close to Earth, then using that momentum to slingshot toward the Krozik command ship. Lisa's crew felt the crushing G-forces, but remained conscious and functional. The ship's weapons fired at full power, targeting the now exposed weak points of the alien vessel. Other human ships followed the same tactic, hitting the command ship from multiple angles. The Krozik vessel's hull began to buckle under the combined stress of weapons fire and gravitational forces. On the ground, Frank Daniels watched through his binoculars as bright flashes lit up the night sky. He didn't know what was happening, but he could tell it was big. "Looks like humans aren't so primitive after all," he said to his dog. The Krozik command ship's engines flared suddenly as Vexnar made a desperate attempt to escape Earth's gravity well. But the damage was too severe. The massive ship began breaking apart, huge sections tearing away from the main structure. The quantum cannon, never fired, exploded in a blinding flash that was visible from the ground. The remains of the command ship scattered across Earth's orbit like a new set of short-lived stars. The destruction of the Krozik command ship sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. Without Vexnar's leadership, the remaining ships fell into disarray. Some continued fighting, while others began to retreat from Earth's orbit. In the Pentagon Command Center, cheers erupted as they watched the massive alien vessel break apart. President Russell allowed herself a small smile, but knew the battle wasn't over yet. "We've hurt them, but they still outnumber us," General Boyd said. "And they have 15 capital ships left." Jack Turner studied the tactical displays. "Look at their formation. It's breaking down. They're not coordinating anymore. We need to press our advantage now," the president decided, "before they can regroup under a new commander." Lisa Hart received new orders aboard the U.S. Defender. Her ship had taken damage in the attack on the command vessel, but was still operational. "All ships, follow the Defender," she instructed the remaining Earth forces. "We're going to hit each capital ship the same way. Use Earth's gravity for acceleration, then strike hard and fast." The human fleet, small but growing as more ships launched from hidden bases, began a coordinated attack on the scattered alien vessels. The Krozik ships tried to respond, but their crews were suffering. Not only were they dealing with the stress of Earth's gravity, but many were also sick with grief and fear after seeing their command ship destroyed. The Defender targeted one of the larger alien ships. Lisa's crew was tired, and the Gi forces from their maneuvers were taking a toll even on their Earth-adapted bodies. But they pushed on, diving close to the planet, then using that momentum to launch themselves at the enemy. Direct hit. Sand shouted as their weapons struck the alien ship's engines. The damaged Krozik vessel tried to escape by accelerating away from Earth, but this only created more stress on its hull. Large cracks appeared along its surface, and atmosphere vented into space. Within minutes, the ship had become a lifeless hulk. Similar scenes played out across Earth's orbit as human ships used their advantage in gravity handling to outmaneuver the larger alien vessels. At NASA, Heather Miller watched the battle with growing hope. "They're retreating," she said as several Krozik ships began moving away from Earth. "They're actually retreating." Jack Turner studied the sensor readings. "Not all of them. There's still a group of ships holding position, and they're sending a signal." The signal came through on all Earth communication systems. A new Krozik commander appeared on screens worldwide. This one looked different, older, with paler skin and what appeared to be mechanical implants along its skull. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, its voice tired and strained. "I am High Commander Zelvac. I have assumed control of the remaining Krozik forces. We request a cessation of hostilities." President Russell responded personally. "You invaded our world. You killed thousands of our people. Now you want to talk. We underestimated your world and your species," Zelvac admitted. "This has never happened in our history. We wish to understand how you defeated us." The president conferred with her advisors before responding. "What are you proposing?" "Allow a small delegation to meet with your leaders. In return, we will cease all attacks and withdraw the majority of our fleet from your system." Major Turner wasn't convinced. It could be a trap. "Maybe," General Boyd said, "but our forces are stretched thin. We've destroyed or damaged many of their ships, but they could still cause massive damage if they decide to make a last desperate attack." President Russell made her decision. "Tell them we accept with conditions. They can send 3 representatives to a meeting on our International Space Station. The rest of their fleet must pull back beyond the orbit of your moon." The message was sent. Minutes later, Zelvac responded. "We agree to your terms. Prepare for our arrival." As the main Krozik fleet began its retreat, a small shuttle detached from one of their remaining ships. It moved cautiously toward the space station, careful to use minimal maneuvering in Earth's gravity well. Humanity had won its first battle against an alien invader, not through superior technology, but through the fundamental nature of their home world. The International Space Station had been quickly modified to host the alien delegation. Special rooms were prepared with reduced gravity to help the Krozik function. Security was tight, with armed guards at every doorway. Jack Turner and Heather Miller were selected to join the meeting along with President Russell, General Boyd, and Dr. Alan Rodriguez. They waited nervously as the alien shuttle docked with the station. 3 Krozik entered slowly, even the station's reduced gravity clearly causing them discomfort. They wore simpler versions of the mechanical support suits seen on their ground troops. High Commander Zelvac led the group, his 3 eyes blinking rapidly as he studied the humans. "Thank you for agreeing to meet," Zelvac said. His voice sounded tired and strained. President Russell nodded. "Why did you attack our world?" "It is what we do," Zelvac replied simply. "The Krozik Empire expands. We find worlds with resources. We take them. We have done this for 1,000 years." He paused, his breathing labored. "But we have never encountered a species like yours, from a world like this." Alan Rodriguez couldn't contain his scientific curiosity. "Your home world. What's its gravity compared to ours?" Approximately one-third of Earth's pull, one of the other aliens answered. Our bodies evolved for that environment. Coming here is painful, fatal, if we stay too long. Yet you still tried to invade, General Boyd said. Zelvac made a gesture with his 4 arms that might have been a shrug. Our scans showed valuable minerals, water, and a habitable atmosphere. We measured your technology level and found it inferior to ours. Standard procedure. But you didn't check our gravity, Heather said. A mistake we will not make again, Zelvac admitted. It was not considered important. Most life-bearing worlds we have encountered have similar gravitational pulls. Yours is unusually high. The discussion continued for hours. The aliens explained their empire, their technology, and their society. The humans shared information about Earth, carefully avoiding any military secrets. Finally, they reached the important question. What happens now? President Russell asked. Zelvac's 3 eyes focused on her. We will leave your solar system. The Krasic Empire will mark Earth as unsuitable for conquest. And we're just supposed to trust you. Jack asked. We cannot fight you here, Zelvac said simply. Your gravity is a weapon we cannot counter. And you now understand our weakness. He turned to President Russell. But we propose an exchange. We will share certain technologies with your people. In return, we ask for safe passage and a promise that you will not follow us to our worlds. The president considered this. What kind of technology? Faster than light travel. Energy production. Medical advancements. Nothing that could be used against us, but enough to help your species advance. After more discussion and careful negotiation, an agreement was reached. The Krasic would provide specific technological knowledge, and humanity would allow them to leave peacefully. Both sides knew it was less a peace treaty and more a temporary truce, but it would give both species time. 3 days later, Frank Daniels watched from his porch as the remaining alien ships rose from Earth orbit, their engines glowing against the darkening sky. His dog Max sat beside him, tail wagging slowly. You know what's funny, Max? Frank said. All my life, I thought if aliens ever came here, they'd be these super beings that could do anything. Turns out, they can't even stand up straight on our planet. In Washington, President Russell addressed the world. Today marks a new chapter in human history. We have faced an enemy from beyond our world and prevailed, not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but because of the very nature of our home planet. Earth's gravity, which we take for granted every day, was our greatest defender. Aboard the U.S. Defender, now docked at the newly expanded space station, Lisa Hart looked at the stars. The Krasic were gone, but the universe suddenly seemed much bigger and more dangerous than before. At least we know one thing, she said to Sam as they watched the last alien ship disappear from their sensors. When we go out there, we'll be the tough ones.